Well, hello and welcome back to the Tim Tom podcast. I'm Tim, joined here by Tom,
Hello.
and the last time I did an intro to this, the world was normal, and now I'm introing to an episode from the COVID-19 lockdown. And what else are you gonna do when you're quarantined other than listen to music? And
Especially when these artists are breaking 4-year hiatuses.
yeah, like, but what a time to drop these albums, you know? All the tours have been cancelled, and one of them is getting a lot of streams. The other one doesn't deserve any streams.
Oof.
And it's a strange time. So I do so hope.
Everyone's breaking their hiatuses. Bloody Uzi, J Electronica,
Yeah.
and now Gambino has out of nowhere. Come on, Frank.
And Thundercat. Thundercat's going to be breaking his as well. He hasn't dropped one since
Come on, Isaiah.
2016?
17, I think.
2017, drunk, yeah. But
Come on, Isaiah. Sort it out.
come on, Radiohead, please, Radiohead, please, I beg you,
Nah.
I beg you.
Hang your hat up already.
I'll sacrifice my younger brother.
Anyway,
Share a room just for an album, please, Tom York.
That seems reasonable.
Okay,
come on.
anyway, so of those people, we are gonna be reviewing The Weeknd's latest album, After Hours, and Childish Gambino's latest collection of B-sides, 3:15:20. You can tell that's gonna be good because he didn't even give it a title. He just named it the date that he released it.
Or the date that he put it on his website, where you
Yeah.
could listen to it on a loop.
Yep, and then it was removed 12 hours later or something,
Mhm.
and then properly released. Properly released that collection of B-sides.
Hey, it was never confirmed. But that was a collection of B-sides.
It is a collection of B-sides, but anyway, we'll get to that later. Let's talk about After Hours.
I mean, if you're a small business owner, it's after hours no matter what time of day it is.
If you're a small business owner, it's time to close up shop. You gotta quarantine yourself. Stay
You probably
inside
shook an old man's hand.
for the NHS. This
Okay.
episode is sponsored by Boris Johnson.
By
Okay.
private healthcare.
The Weeknd After Hours. So
I
Big
want to
Sin-
start by saying the singles, all
Uh-huh.
three of them, were killer. They were all good.
Which were the singles actually? Besides,
Heartless.
okay,
Then we had Blinding Lights.
Yep.
And then we got given After Hours, the title track. Which totally threw me off kilter. I thought this was going to be like a weird, sexy party album. And then you had that song, and it's just like, holy shit. What the hell is this? And then we got the whole thing and found out. But
that it is not. It is a complete opposite of that.
But it did not get off to the best start.
No, I have to agree with you there. It does take a bit of time to get going.
I mean,
but
the first two tracks.
Well, they do
terrible.
set the tone rather well with.
I disagree. I don't think they set the tone at all.
Okay, do go on.
Well, Hardest to Love perfectly sets the tone. But that's the third track. The other two are just sort of poppy garbage.
Okay, I mean, I think they were forgettable tracks, the first two, but I do think that so the whole album is these big synth numbers anchored in this retro aesthetic.
Mhm.
All of it is like sequenced very well, and it has this compelling, palpable like nocturnal atmosphere throughout the whole thing.
Well, they're all sort of like somber,
Yeah,
like 80s dance songs, aren't they?
definitely 80s big time. It wears its 80s influences on its sleeve, and that's clear like from the actual instrumentation through to the album artwork and promotional artworks that have been released.
The fact that he
Where
looks like a soul singer now.
exactly. Um,
He looks like
so
Smokey Robinson or
I mean,
Lionel
I
Rich.
was getting just like a 70s, 80s kind of vibe from him, and like I love how he's done his facial hair as well. It's a big old handlebar moustache now. It's epic. But yeah, so it does. I think it sets the tone in a way. I'll admit that they're forgettable, but I think yeah.
Okay. I
But
just think that they're a bit more upbeat than most of the songs on here, and it was sort of misleading to me.
I found them to be like downbeat. I didn't find them to be upbeat at all. Although the the kind of subtly dancey rhythm of Too Late was kind of a bit more upbeat, but it's just it sets the melodramatic tone of the project pretty
Yeah, I
well,
suppose.
and it also but yeah, Hardest to Love is definitely where it starts. It has like a bit of a almost like a reggaeton vibe. I think Hardest to Love has that, or it might be Too Late, but it's just yeah, there are some really great moments where like Tafaye like duets with these very sweet keys over it, and it's kind of like an 80s pop ballad pastiche, but
Really.
with like a bit more of an edge and a bit more oomph, quite a
I
lot more
thought
oomph.
the instrumental, these sort of synth lines that never really got going, was all very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, and the second verse in particular, ooh, that was killer right there.
Hmm.
And it very clearly foreshadows the theme of the next few songs.
Mm.
And the hook pops, so there you go.
A lot of the hooks do pop. A lot of the hooks do pop. I was a big fan of Snow Child. I think Snow Child could be my maybe my favorite on the album, if I'm gonna be honest. Just because these kind of 80s pop ballads that it's harkening back to aren't really my cup of tea,
Mm.
whereas Snow Child is like it's the chaser to that song, and it's a lot more contemporary and almost atmospheric. Um,
It's a lot
just
slower as well, isn't
a
it?
lot slower, but it does have this very punchy trap beat on it, which like contrasts it, but kind of comfortably. It's not too doesn't detract from it, and the those kind of atmospheric smooth synth chords are just sublime, man. And it has a really good one of the I think the opening line is like she never need a man, like she's what a man needs, and then later on in Heartless, he bloody calls back to it where he says that like he doesn't need a bitch. He's what a bitch needs. I think is the line he uses.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
also I thought that it was interesting that One O Tricks Point Never, who do like these really weird dance things, a bit like Aphex Twin,
you're right.
produced this track alongside Abel.
Now I can see that because it is when I say atmospheric, that's precisely what I'm getting at. I was almost getting reminded of like the Minecraft soundtrack a tiny bit
Okay,
with just those synth chords
ambience.
they're using. Ambience. That's what I want to say. Not atmospheric, ambience. You got it.
This
You
one
got
was another very
it.
sad song. Although I thought that the similes in the second verse, well, like every line had the word like in it, was
Mm.
a bit, a bit grating after a while, and none
Yeah.
of them were particularly funny.
No.
But nonetheless, this leads on perfectly because he says in the song, LA was the mission, but now I'm leaving. The next track, Escape LA.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
I know.
whoa. Also, just
Connections.
as a bit of a side note, I wanted to ask you: would a snow child beat a starboy in a fight? Do you think?
Um, how much snow does the snow child have?
I assume the snow child can have an infinite amount of snow.
I think the snow child would beat the Starboy.
Hmm.
And actually, I think the Snow Child would anyway. Now that I think about it, because a Starboy is just someone that sleeps around.
So the Snow Child's gonna give him hypothermia.
Yeah.
Epic. Okay, no,
I
do go on.
just see a lot of gangrene in that.
Time for the
Frostbite.
frostbite, baby.
Now the next 3 tracks are all produced by The Weeknd, Ilangelo, and Metro Boomin.
Ooh, he does reference Metro Boomin in Heartless. So I was like, is Metro Boomin in this? Did Metro Boomin produce this?
But you didn't fancy to have a look.
No, I didn't.
And in my opinion, just to carry on with that, I think they are my favorite songs. Like this little run of, well, the whole run of from Hardest to Love up until the track before the interlude is an incredibly good run of songs.
It is.
But I think these 3 are particularly good because they all sort of have this sort of more bassy, more rich production.
Certainly.
And they're also the most sleazy songs on the album, and that's why I love them, to be honest. Like this song, the first portion is quite classy, and it's just like, I've got to get out of LA. There's hoes everywhere. I don't like it anymore. And then it suddenly cuts halfway through, like so seamlessly, to just painting this sex scene in the studio.
Yes.
The instrumentation is so good.
Yep.
And then describing that all the bimbos look the same. And I just thought that was very good.
No,
They made Heartless.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, were you gonna say something else?
No. I think you really like hit the tone there.
It's a banger. And this is why I was thinking that The Weeknd hadn't changed at all, because this was the first single, and he just kicks it off with "Never need a bitch, I'm what a bitch need."
Yeah.
Just I'm heartless. I can't love everything, and even though it turns out that it's basically surrounded by songs to the contrary, which was interesting.
It's all about. I mean, the whole album is about kind of missing. Or the second half of the album is all about kind of missing someone and wanting them back.
I feel like, as the video sort of shows, for Heartless, it's like the moment of drunkenness. I don't need this. I'm fine. And then you sort of wake up with a hangover, and you're like, holy shit, I do need this.
Yeah.
I need this woman. This woman, get her back.
I need this woman. Yeah, the beat itself is heartless. This is a beat that'll steal your girl. You know, it's one of the shortest tracks on the projects, but it leaves a lasting impression. Certainly, it is. It has this great bass to it, which isn't on a lot of the other tracks. A lot of the other tracks, the kind of synth melodies and those kind of accents will be at the forefront, whereas here that kind of underbelly, that evil, dirty synth is at the forefront, and it really does steal the show. It's very powerful. I like it a lot.
The bass is so
thick. That's what I mean. Yeah, that bass line.
And it's then the final bass line. These trio of tracks, Faith, is my favorite song.
Oh,
this project.
Okay.
It's the sort of the stunning centerpiece. It starts off very dramatic. Looking around at his demons, and he's looking for his ride or die. This is sort of like a mind state song. Is that... Where the hell am I?
That's what everyone's looking for, their ride or die.
Yeah, where he even says, "If I OD, will you OD right beside me?"
Damn.
I'm not sure if
that's ride or die if she's gonna do that.
That's the way.
That's a very it's not the best way. Not a very mature way of going about things. Not a very
No, it isn't. I think that the only thing holding this back a bit is that the beat cut doesn't really go to anything other than well, it sort of gives Blinding Lights a completely different meaning to this synthy pop song.
Okay.
because he's getting arrested, and then he's sort of like hung over in the car, and all the lights are so bright because like he's not used to seeing the lights, and he's just trying to get his girl back, and that's what it's about. And I just didn't realize that until you sort of have that skit at the end of Faith, and
Okay.
that it syncs up so well. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they do lead into each other really well. It sets the scene really nicely. Yeah, for the kind of the centerpiece of the album. But just coming back to that music on Blinding Lights, I really like how it wears its retro influences on its sleeve, and it has it's these brilliantly bold synths, which, and it also has like the best performance from the Weeknd on it on the project. It's I was almost getting a kind of Nightwave vibe from some of these tracks, like Nightwave being that sort of offshoot, or it's similar to like Vaporwave with these 80s synths, but whereas Vaporwave is very slow, Nightwave is very like kind of driving beats. It's like Kavinsky music. It's the soundtrack to Drive by Nicholas Winding Refn, if you guys have heard that. That's what I was getting from here. It's this very driving beat. It makes you want to drive a car very fast under the influence of narcotics and commit crimes.
And it starts off a run of 3 tracks that are incredibly disco-y.
Yes.
And incredibly groovy.
Well, I almost got bedroom poppy vibes from like Save Your Tears.
Okay. But for me, Blinding Lights was the best one.
Yeah, definitely.
I think In Your Eyes I liked a bit as well, but Save Your Tears, I don't know, even though it was message-wise probably the saddest of the lot, it just felt almost too sugary for me. I thought it was sort of after 2 songs that were quite similar before that, I felt like too much to me.
Yeah, and I honestly found the lyrics to be a bit mopey after a while. It's kind of just wallowing in its own self-pity a bit. But the instrumentation does kind of complement the nostalgia that this is driving at. Repeat After Me kind of follows up that vibe, but at the start it's almost lo-fi in its instrumentation, which I thought was very interesting, and then it kind of kicks in again, and it kind of gets back to those kinds of funky disco-y 80s synth-led pieces, but very interesting that it starts off being kind of lo-fi almost.
And then we've got the interlude, which is just a placeholder, really. I don't think it adds anything at all.
No, I don't have any notes for it.
It just feels lazy. Like a less good performance from everyone involved.
This album does feel long, is one of my complaints. And I think that more than a couple tracks could have, like, don't really bring much to the table. I think it could have done with being around 38 minutes rather than 58.
Mm-hmm.
But
you're getting your complaints in too early.
All right.
What about After Hours?
So again, it has more of these kind of Nightwave elements, and it's very driving beat. It's very solid. But I didn't really have that much to say about it beyond that. I think it's not the best track.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
The track, it does take a little while before it's like over a minute in before the proper instrumentation kicks in. But once it gets going, it's like this dingy, nightmarish dance song. And the sort of the call out at the end is just heartbreaking.
I think Until I Bleed Out I think it follows on very nicely from it. With like, so at this point he's got her back, you know, and he's telling her, I'm gonna treat you so much better, and you know, things will be better this time. But then and like Until I Bleed Out, he's found her and stuff, but I don't know if he gets her. I don't know if, like, Until I Bleed Out, it's kind of
Well, I think we're left on a bit of a cliffhanger because
Yeah,
it just feels like until I bleed out, I've given everything, my blood, my sweat, and my tears
yeah.
to get you back, and then it just cuts out there.
She goes,
I like
okay.
I love the chorus one until you bleed out though. I think it might be the best one on the album.
Okay. It's I think it's a good closer, and I like what you mean, or what you're getting at with the cliffhanger and stuff. It's interesting. It's definitely more mature than I was expecting from this album.
It's his best album.
Okay, okay.
I think that the trilogy is still better,
Those are what I'm gonna listen to
but they're
next.
his mixtapes, and they're
Yeah.
sort of more douchey and ruining his life with drugs and bitches. But whereas
What's
the
the difference
album,
between a bitch, a hoe, and a whammon? Where are these?
in my opinion, there isn't
Okay.
one.
It's it seems more like it's his state of mind when he's thinking about
It's all
ladies.
about where you meet them. That's the difference.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I think this is considering that stylistically it does jump around a bit. Like it's got the poppy start,
Yeah, yeah.
the weird dancey songs. Then it's got the proper bass rich
Mm,
songs and the funkier disco songs, and then back to the weird dance songs at the end. I think it's like you said, it's very grown up. It holds itself together quite well.
I think that.
It shows artistic evolution as well from being this guy that just wants to put coke in his nose and bang all night
Mm,
to someone that genuinely wants to keep someone around.
yeah,
That's evolution,
that's
and the
development of the
production
character.
is consistently good for the first time as well,
Yeah,
which is
I
important.
definitely. The production is certainly consistent, and I
That's why I'm
think
giving
that
it an 8 out of 10.
this like I think when you talked about it, then I realized how much it does kind of jump around between different styles, but everything feels it's all tight, like neatly packaged, or like neatly put together in this package of After Hours,
Well,
which
like you said right at the beginning, it is, it does sync well into each other. Like there are little like not even 30-second like bits of maybe silence where
mm,
like a song comes out and then into another one. So it's not just like sad,
yeah, yeah,
disco. It's they ride around together. It's
it's
not like
very
a
well sequenced, and it is. I think the reason
that's the word.
it's able to like the reason it's able to kind of jump between these different genres, or like well, even though they're not really like genres, it is just like different stylistic differences between the songs, with some being more funky, some being more trappy, but they are still all anchored in this retro aesthetic.
And the lyrical themes link them
Certainly,
together as well.
it's a well put together album, but it is long in the tooth, and it does just have some redundant tracks on it. I'm
That I
gonna
would
call
agree with.
it's too long, and that is to its detriment, big time. But that is the only real complaint I have. So for me, it's definitely a 7. Maybe if it was shorter, it would be an 8. But because of the length, it's a 7 from me. And
I
7 is
have
not
made the
bad.
jump to the 8.
Oh! But again, I guess you've seen this development of the weekend. You've
Yeah,
seen
I
how they've
mean,
grown.
Kissland sucked. The rest aren't bad, but this is the best.
Yeah. I'm gonna listen to the mixtapes after this.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's something
I have all
to
3 to
definitely
go to.
do.
But okay, so from someone who's gone through like, well, another artist who has developed a lot, who has changed a lot, who has
Definitely.
gone from,
Arguably more so.
yeah, I mean the guy went from a nobody to a superstar. Uh,
Exactly, he's gone from like loser frat rap on camp They're making sort of good hip hop on because of the internet.
And
like funk and soul and R&B,
on Awaken My Love,
which I have on the vinyl.
oh my god. And he is also an actor. And
me and Connor saw him live last year at the O2, and it was amazing.
yeah, it's Post Malone, everybody. No, it's Childish Gambino.
And the Algorithm, he played that actually
live.
Yeah.
Oh no, that makes sense because what is this album? Oh yes, I hear you say it. It's an album of B-sides. So yes, of course he had that song already made.
Maybe
this is a weird. It's a weird album. Very weird.
The weirdest thing for me is that it doesn't have an album cover. It's white.
Well, neither does Untitled Unmastered because it's a collection of B-sides. It's not an album. It's not even a mixtape. I don't know what it is.
And I was really hoping that it wasn't an album of B-sides, but I couldn't help but think that when it didn't have an album cover, it didn't have a name.
None of the songs have titles.
All the tracks bar 2 are just timestamps.
Yeah. This ain't it, Chief.
It gets off to a poor start. The 000 is
actually
3 minutes.
I like 000
of annoying vocals. Do you really?
Yeah, I like it.
It just sounds like 5 auto-tune Gambinos.
Nah, it's just ambient. It's just 3 minutes of kind of dreamlike atmospheric ambience. It's very summery and soulful. And but here's the thing. So there's this stuttering in the track, which makes it a bit abstract. Nothing. It's definitely way too long for 3 minutes though. It should be like a minute and a half at most. But because it has that stuttering where it just stops for like a few seconds, I was having problems with my Wi-Fi and it just stopped for like a minute, and I thought, this is very brave. How brave of him to do this, to put such a big space of silence in his music. That was before I knew it was an album of B-sides. And it was also before I realized that my Wi-Fi just wasn't working. But yeah, it's a weird start, and it transitions into the much darker and jittery Algorithm. This very robotic EQ on the vocals, which is incredibly grating in my opinion, spoils the song because you have a much softer EQ, which is still robotic on the chorus, on that cool voice which comes in.
Algorithm.
That's lovely to listen to.
I like the fact that the title made rhythm that spelled like the word rhythm.
Yeah.
Rather
than didn't see that.
Spelling Algorithm properly. Sort of made it this cyber dance track that it was trying to be.
Yeah.
It's fun to listen to, but like his messaging and stuff's just lost in the fact that this, as every song on here, is really lo-fi.
But also, like, what is up with the biblical references? There's a fair few on this project.
I only clocked the Moses one.
No, there's like references to the Garden of Eden and the snake as well. I think there might be a couple more, but it's noticeable the biblical references, and I don't understand why they're there.
Well, anyway, when he played this song at the O2, I thought it was meh. Yeah. Now I think it's slightly above meh.
Really?
But the rapping still is not great.
No.
But the hook, and actually, I think the instrumentation being lo-fi kind of works here. It doesn't really work in many other places. Like Time. I think it was to the detriment of Time.
Okay.
You got Ariana Grande on there. She sounds best when she's being super produced by Pharrell or those Swedish guys. And you've got DJ Dahi on most of the songs here.
Yeah.
So why does it sound so tinny?
It's mostly DJ Dahi and the producer with whom he did or the producer, like, he did Awaken My Love with him.
Oh, Ludwig Göransson.
Yeah.
He does. They do most of their stuff.
He also did he did the Black Panther score as well. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was already getting a lo-fi vibe from these early tracks. So these are like the most high fidelity that
they were, and they still sounded like they were recorded over Skype. And I
um,
just thought that Ariana Grande was clearly the better vocalist
yep.
in this song. And this song, like many others, was about 2 minutes too long.
Yeah. Oh, it's so long. This project is way
It's
too long.
basically dead air at the end.
Yep. I mean, yeah, definitely.
And I think the
I
drums
think
are really lo-fi for no reason.
I like the choir though. I think they're a great addition, and especially when they get like pitch shifted at one point. Like, but
I
just
think
with the
that
length of things. Okay.
the difference between these songs and the later ones is that there's something to cling on
Yeah.
to make you
Yeah.
think, yeah, this isn't bad.
No, this
Whereas
is going somewhere.
when they're lo-fi and the singing's not very good and the idea's not very good, you've not got anything left.
No, exactly. This has like it still has like some really nice soulful vocals on it, which are on it like a lot. But like, you can tell that they were recorded at different times because Gambino's going for different sounds. It's very strange. I do want to say that I really like how candidly it closes though, with this very naked piano in the choir on time.
Just
But
gets there too late.
yeah, and again, I mean, so the tone shifts again. And here's the thing: this is an album of B-sides. None of the songs are really connected to each other, which is why I do applaud how well they have sequenced the songs. The songs still like they jump like massively. They don't flow into each other properly, but they've tried to, and they've tried hard to do that. So I think that
Just
that
makes you
should.
wonder why they did though.
I think just to kind of to provide some ease of listening to those who want to actually listen to it as a proper album. But it is just it's a bit of a mess, this project. But it wasn't trying to be anything other than a mess. All they've done is kind of tidied it up a bit.
But time, if it was shorter and it was mixed properly, that could have been a hit.
Yeah,
12,
definitely.
12:38 is like if someone said to me that this was the only good song on the album, I wouldn't argue with them.
Is that the next track?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it has this decidedly early 2010s feel, I think.
I thought it
And
was older than that. I thought it was like some weird. It was like sort of cheeky soul music,
well,
but also the instrumentation was
I was getting like almost an
kind of
odd.
new.
Yeah, but it's kind of odd future-ish, sorta. One thing I really want to talk about is the feature. I don't know who they were, but the chilled flows and their like relaxed southern drawl complemented the.
You
the
don't know who 21 Savage is when you hear him.
No, I guess not.
That's ridiculous.
Well, anyway, I thought that it was pretty great here, you know. And I really like the trippy bridge where the track kind of melted.
It's like an R&B
Yeah, it's pretty
throwback
epic.
thing. I loved that this was like this weird lusty story, but it also seemed it just bounced around without any real logic at the same time, which I guess is
Well,
why it was
it's just like a
on a
fucking
B
trip, I
side.
guess. I guess it's just
It
a
was just
trip.
like, well, actually, funnily enough, one of the first things that he does on the song is take mushrooms.
Yeah, he's saying like this is psilocybin. This ain't no Molly though. But I found those kind of like that
And he's
skit
just chilling around the
a
house,
bit
and
creepy.
then his ex comes out the closet. It's just like, yeah, okay. And then 21 Savage comes on. He does his thing, talks a bit
But
about
yeah, the
police
lyrics
brutality.
on I don't know. I just find it a bit condescending on like the next track. There's like the hook is to be beautiful is to be hunted, and there's another one which is being happy means someone else ain't or something like that.
Yeah.
I appreciate how wide Glover's sonic palette is. He has like this unique percussion, guitars, soulful vocals, and like he has an impressive range and these very funky rhythms. It's a smorgasbord. But I don't want a smorgasbord. I wanted a very tightly knit project, and just they tried very hard to sequence them, but I realized here this is just a bit of a mess.
Well,
It's a
I
bit of
thought that
section of B-sides.
12:38 went into 1910 really well.
Mm.
But 1910, as you already mentioned, the hook was cringy. and for some reason the drums were mixed really loudly. They hurt my ears. And this is another track that's over 5 minutes long.
Yep. I
Then we
definitely
have
think
an 8-minute
honestly,
long song.
just the mix is very loud in general. Which
Yeah.
the next song sounds like an "Awaken My Love" B-side. I had almost the rhythm he was going for reminded me a lot of Redbone. Very odd, uncomfortable melody, tinny vocals, only coming into its own kind of halfway through at this dreamy bridge, led by a harp.
Always nice to see.
Very dark kind of outro as well.
Then,
But no, it doesn't need to be that long.
24:19 is 8 minutes long. God knows why.
Yeah.
The first 2 or 3 minutes have got really annoying vocal inflection. Then the singing gets kind of better, and then there's like 2 minutes at the end. They're also nothing, so it's basically a 3-minute song dragged down to an 8-minute song.
Exactly. Stupid.
Not the worst track though. That will be the next one.
Yes. We have Diet Travis Scott.
Yes.
There's a derivative melody, percussion torn straight from Black Skinhead, in my opinion. That's what I was getting like. Abstract vocal chants on yourself to make the track more confusing.
Did you know that the Black Skinhead drums came from Daft Punk?
No, I didn't know that. What the heck? Oh, I really like how there's at least three Kanye songs now that I know of which like directly sample them. I like that Kanye likes them.
Well, they actually gave them to him because they were too heavy for anything on Random Access Memory.
Oh god, yeah, no, they'd be way too heavy for that. That's a lovely disco album.
So we got the mess, then the sort of country song. This kind of
very jarring transition.
Yes, but I kind of like this song. It was a bit fun. It was also sort of had it was basically having sort of like traps song subject matter, but he was sort of singing it in this happy country way to sort of suggest that country artists have nothing in their songs, just like hip hop, but hip hop gets called bland and empty calories, whereas country doesn't. But it doesn't mean it sounds good.
Who the hell even listens to country? Anyway, no.
Hey, I listen to Jody.
I think this track is hot garbage, bro. Without those synths or the quiet, the lo-fi kind of guitar that is used is very annoying.
No, I didn't say it sounded good.
Yeah.
I just thought the message was kind of true.
There's a weird message on the next track though. He kicks off by saying, "Where are those subtle men? Where are people who apologize?"
I thought
I don't think Glover is very subtle. I don't think he's very subtle at all. I don't really get it, and I want him to apologize for dropping this.
I thought this was
it's heavily
Queen worship. It sounded a lot like Bohemian Rhapsody, but as I don't really like Queen, as I don't really like Queen, I didn't really like this.
It's so obvious, and it just feels like an extended interlude. I like the harmonies, but ultimately this is surplus to requirement. This song, the next track feels like Summer is like the third.
Why did Algorithm and Time have a name, but this song, which has been out for 2 years,
which is already released,
everyone knows this song?
Yeah,
and it doesn't have the name. I don't understand that. It's a vibey little track.
It's very weird.
But again,
it's a great track.
Yeah, but again, it's probably longer than it needs to be.
Yeah, but I mean, I can live with it. I like it being so long. It's the best track on the project, in my opinion.
Really?
It's great vocals soaring over these like kind of subtle keys. I was getting a lot of like reminded of the Isley Brothers kind of vibes from it almost. At times, the next track is another funky number, and it starts off kind of sounding like one of the weirdest tracks on Maggot Brain. but then it turns into like a trap song, which I really wasn't hoping for.
I thought this sounded
So
like
and it's
something Prince would have done.
okay.
It sounded well. It sounded like someone like a Prince cover band would have done. It did sort of. It was
I,
like you say with the Maggot Brain stuff. I had it as more of a like a funkier Prince song. It's
okay.
just what it felt like to me. Although
Yeah.
it's again incredibly long, and I'm sort
Yeah,
of done
way
with
too
it.
long.
I'm done with it by this
It's
point.
ultimately forgettable. This album just makes you want to stop listening to it by the
And
end.
the final
I
song,
thought it was a
it's
shit post. It's really hard. Like Globe is kind of barking when he raps, and then like he's barking at you, and then a second later he's serenading you. It's very weird, very chaotic track.
yeah, and it seemed like the last is like sort of trying right at the end when it was already too late.
Yeah, and I was getting so this seems like it's just an album of influences. I was getting Black of the Berry from this. But I will admit it has an undeniably danceable rhythm, and it is listenable, but it's very chaotic. And
I think
this
that's this album in a nutshell,
album,
kind of.
yeah, chaotic, and out suddenly with no marketing, perhaps for good reason.
He's still not promoted it. Like when everything
No,
was on the website, it was other people that found it and then was posting it. That's how people found out about it. And then the same again with the
mm,
release of it on streaming services. It's not been promoted by him
yeah,
once.
no. Uh,
And I can see why.
I don't know what to give this. I don't know what to give this.
Well, I
I
actually
don't
put
like.
5 in my notes, but I think that's incredibly generous.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly generous. I'm debating
I
like
think
it
3.
down. I think 3-2. Yeah. It's just that's the amount of songs that I like on it. So and it's not the good songs are good, but there's barely any good songs.
And
And
even the good songs need work.
yeah, it's just it's a mess. It's a complete mess. It's like it's a shit post. Peggy Peggy did an interview with the Cambridge Union recently, and I suggest that you guys watch it
It
because
seems irresponsible given the lockdown climate.
no, it was before the lockdown. It was before the lockdown, but it's only been like promoted by the algorithm recently on YouTube. Uh,
Uh,
it was this year, I think, the interview happened. But it's an interesting interview. He's actually asked questions about like his military service and like why he started rapping. He only started rapping because no one wanted to rap over his beats. Everything was done out of necessity, and just JPEG Mafia is a very interesting character in the current climate of hip hop. Always
well,
has
he's been
been.
hanging out
Always
with a
will
lot
be.
of rappers recently, like Maxo Cream and L Sweatshirt.
Yeah,
And I think he said on Twitter this year that he's gonna just sit back and be a producer.
that's fair enough. But he's still dropping some songs. He's dropped 3 this year so far, I think. And Bald was the first. It's kind of jungle rhythm to it, and it bangs. He dropped another one recently, which the name escapes me currently. But then he also dropped Covered in Money, which is what we're going to talk about very briefly now. Just to round this off.
The video's cool.
I haven't seen the video. I didn't know there was one. I will watch it.
He
His
keeps
videos
hanging
are
out with his
always
car while they're driving.
It's he did that on another one on one of his earlier tracks about Trump, something like that. It was him in a car though. But yeah, so Covered in Money, characteristically abstract yet uncharacteristically acoustic almost in the percussion. Like it didn't. At least it started off with kind of I don't know, almost like world drums, kind of very weird percussion. There was a fun reference to IDK I noticed,
Oh
where
yeah.
he used he referenced like flashback by saying that he was going on a digital dash. I thought, I like that. I like that. I love that. It's a very strange track from Peggy, who is evidently still exploring their sound. The track start really kicks off though halfway through, at which point the 808 is thick Peggy's flows are just dutty, and the tremolo on the melody and how strange this sound this whole single is, it's very, very intriguing. But it does start halfway through. In
He's
my
borderline
opinion.
dressing in drag.
Yeah. There's some
And
great
he's
bars.
holding money.
Great bars. I think it definitely picks up at the halfway point. There is a song prior to that point, but I definitely prefer it when his like synths and 808 start kicking in and things just get a bit dirty.
I
That's
didn't
when
see
he's
that. I
his
think it's
best.
quite good the whole way through, to be honest.
I don't know. I found the start a bit
Hey.
kind of
Oh.
empty or a bit too spacious for my liking. I like the percussion that you use, but I don't think it was that nice to listen to. But man's exploring the sound. I'm okay with that. Yeah, if you guys don't listen to JPEG Mafia, stop what you're doing and listen to JPEG Mafia. Because you have all the time in the world to do it with COVID. So before we get locked down forever,
Do it before COVID 20 drops.
Yeah, do it before COVID 20 drops. I hear that they're just still working, or they're beginning to work on the mastering, and they're getting ready to drop. So do it before that happens.
About to bounce it.
Kenny Beats drops COVID 20 and blows up the world. And with that to look forward to, I've been Tim.
I've been Tom.
And you have been listening to the first of, I presume, quite a few lockdown episodes. Okay.
We had the lockdown wipe last week.
The second of what I know will be many more lockdown episodes. See you soon. Stay safe and socially distance. Okay. Adios. And wash your hands. Wash your damn hands. And don't make people ill. Good night.